FORA.tv. The world is thinking.
So lobbyists paying members, both during and after their tenure as members of Congress. During their tenure, lobbyists pay with cash, and I don't mean the Blagojevich sense of cash. I mean instead support for campaigns, also a Blagojevich sense of cash, of course, but support for campaigns as the cost of campaigns has exploded. Members have become increasingly dependent upon campaign cash. Estimates range between 30% and 70% of a member's time is spent raising money either for themselves or their party to get back into power. And lobbyists increasingly have become suppliers of this cash, not themselves directly, that's a small part of any campaign contribution, but indirectly by assuring or facilitating campaign contributions from the interests they represent. They're suppliers or pushers in this industry of funding. Now, the point is to recognize how this is new, as Kaiser describes it. Money has been part of American politics forever, on occasion in the Gilded Age, or the Harding administration, for example, much more blatantly than recently. But the scale of it has just gotten way out of hand. The money may have come in brown paper bags in earlier eras, but the politicians needed and took much less of it than they take through more formal channels today. They need and they take much more, and they're, in this sense, then dependent upon those who supply. That's during their tenure. Increasingly also after their tenure, they're paid by the lobbyists. The lobbyists pay with a certain promise of future employment. As my friend Congressman Jim Cooper describes it, Washington has increasingly become a kind of farm league for K Street. Members and staffers and bureaucrats increasingly have a common business model in their head as they serve in Washington. The business model is focused on their life after government, life as lobbyists. 50% of senators between 1998 and 2004, as Public Citizen reported, translated their Senate tenure into a career as lobbyists. 42% of members of the House. Increasingly, the point is people, everyone inside the system, depends upon this system surviving. And it's that dependency that puts the lobbyist in a strong position to, in this sense, pay the members, both during and after their time in Congress. Then the members pay the interest. This is obvious to everyone now. Explosion of this going on in the healthcare debate, brazenly in other areas of congressional attention. Think about the recent cap and trade bill. MapLight, which is an organization tracking money and politics, and on whose board I sit, delivered this report about a month and a half ago about the vote on the cap and trade bill. In a section describing the amendment to gut the bill, they tracked the contributions of people voting to gut the bill versus those who didn't, found that on average those voting to gut received 3 times the money from the interests of those opposing, or redefining biomass in a way that would fundamentally undermine environmental protections. The ratio was 10 times the contribution received by those who supported that change to those who didn't. In this sense, the policies get bent to those who pay for these policies, and sometimes, as researchers have demonstrated, to an extraordinary return. So this University of Kansas paper describing the rate of return for this statute, the American Jobs Creation Act, discovered that the rate of return on lobbyist expenditures was 22,000%. In a world where returns like this are available through lobbying, one can well understand why resources get devoted to lobbying rather than to innovating to find the next great mousetrap.